National Education Policy 1998 to 2010 aims and objectives to revitalize the existing education system with a view to cater to social, political, and spiritual needs of individuals and society, to promote social and cultural harmony through the conscious use of educational process, to provide and ensure equal educational opportunities to all the citizens of Pakistan and to provide minorities with adequate facilities for their cultural and religious development, enabling them to participate effectively in the overall national effort to widen access to the education for all and to improve the quality of education, particularly in its dimension of being relevant to the needs of the economy, to equalize access to education through provision of special facilities for girls and boys like under privileged, marginalized groups and handicapped children and adults. Education and training should enable the citizens of Pakistan to lead their lives according to the teachings of Islam as laid down in the Quran and Sunnah and to educate and train them as a true practicing Muslim. Teacher education. The effectiveness of the educational system of Pakistan in service training of teachers, teacher trainers and educational administrators can be enhanced through school clustering and other techniques. The quality of pre-service teacher training programs can be upgraded by introducing parallel programs of longer duration at post-secondary and post-degree level. Introduction of programs of FA, FSc education and BA, BSc education. According to National Educational Policy 2009, reform is required in pre-service training and standardization of qualification, professional development, teacher remuneration and status and governance. Problems and issues of teacher education. There are various factors responsible for this critical situation: shortage of funds for teacher education, lack of quality pre-service and in-service trainings, scarcity of human and material resources, poor salaries and low status of the professionalism in teaching, and globalization are some of the main setbacks of teacher education. These problems are being vehemently highlighted in the academic and educational seminars and conferences. Let us discuss some main problems and issues of teacher education. Allocation of funds for education, government training institutes, scarcity of human and material resources, poor quality of management, training of government teachers, lack of potential and competent educators, lack of interpersonal and counseling skills, poor evaluation and assessment criteria. Training of elementary school teacher ESTs, conventional training program, field-based teacher training program, training of teachers through distance education, training of secondary school teachers, BS education 12 plus 3 model, B8 14 plus 1 model, training through distance education, education foundations and the National Commission for Human Development NCHD, pre-service education, modern methodology, history of education, philosophy of education, guidance and counseling, testing and measurement, sociology of education, educational psychology, child development, anthropology. Primary teacher education in Pakistan. The teacher in the class room deals with diversity of learners and is responsible for their physical, intellectual, social, moral and spiritual development. As we know that the primary education is the foundation and base for learning. The return of primary 115 education is considered higher than that of higher education. Therefore, primary education needs more attention and inputs to raise its standards and quality. In Pakistan, the conferences formed a number of communities, including for primary education, to provide compulsory, universal, and free primary education to every child and provide facilities for attainment of universal enrollment of boys and girls, especially in far-flung areas. Primary education system at district level. The district education officers, male, and their staff is in charge of boys primary school, and district education officer female heads each district as in the charge of girls primary school. A district education officer has one deputy district education officer, deputy DO, one or two sub-divisional district officer SDEO, 3 to 4 assistant district education officers ADEO, several assistant sub-divisional educational officer ASDEO, and one learning coordinator LC for approximately 30 to 80 schools. Learner coordinators are supposed to reach out their schools for supervision